Hello, Angie Gerber here, and welcome to my podcast, Awareness. Once you know, you can't unknow. A place you can come to start thinking and shifting your thoughts to finally create the results you truly, truly desire. It'll shift your mindset and give you strategies to get out there and get it done. Let's get started. All right, on today's episode, I want to talk about our kids. Whether you have kids, you know kids, you're around kids, I just think it's really important to have this friendly reminder, I'll call it, that they are always watching us and what we're doing. So what has recently happened is in my state, we have a state baseball tournament. And what that is it's where 40 of the top teams of the state come together and they play one tournament to determine who is the best organization in the state, or the team that is the best, I guess, is how it's best to be described. So we just had one of our state tournaments this past weekend. And when I got there Friday morning, there was a sign hanging up, and it said something to the effect of, these are kids, the coaches are volunteer parents, and it went on to say the ump is a human that's going to be making the calls, and there are no scholarships that will be handed out today, meaning, these are kids. They're here to have fun. Let's support them the best we can. And I just thought it was a pretty cool sign. I wanted to take a picture of it. I forgot. But that's the gist of it. And it set a pretty good tone, I thought, for the weekend. And it went on throughout the weekend. I witnessed not one, but two parents from one of the opposing teams we were playing get ejected from the game that their kid was playing by the umpire, which means that they had to leave the stands and leave the field playing area. So yes, they could watch their kid from afar, but they couldn't be part of that moment for their child. They got ejected because they were chirping and talking and challenging the ump in his calls and just not showing up in the best light. Then I went on to witness yesterday, for my first time ever, a player, one of these kids, get ejected from their own game in the state tournament. And it was pretty eye-opening. I hadn't seen that before. We actually didn't even know. I was watching a friend's team. We didn't even know what the rules were when a player got ejected because you just don't hear of it happening. So figured it out, whatever. It just got me to thinking. I'm like, I need to just bring some awareness around this. We all know it's happening. We know it. We all get heated in the moment, especially when there's a competitive sport. I've seen it in hockey. I've seen it obviously in baseball. I've seen it in soccer. I mean, every sport. As parents and guardians and grandparents and aunts and uncles, we need to show up better. And by that, I mean, just really look at, will this game matter in a week, in a month, in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years? Will the outcome of this game matter? Probably not. But will the impact of a person getting ejected from a game and the feeling that's imprinted on that child, will that go with them? And will that be felt? And will that feeling stay with that child for a year, 5 years, 10 years? I can guarantee it will. The outcome, not so much. Again, it's how we make people feel. So I just wanted to, it just was weighing on my heart, and I just want to talk about it because we can do better as humans, as parents, as just people in general to each other. I mean, we had a situation in one of our games where the other team broke a rule. They didn't really know they had, as far as we knew. It just happened. And they got called on it. And then the game was forfeited. And that they were very, very upset. That, again, is about taking 100% ownership. Who is that on? It's not on us. We didn't cause them to pitch their pitcher too many times. That's all on them and their organization, and mistakes happen. Absolutely. Well, a mom in the stands was just, she was very angry. She was angry at us because they broke the rules, and there was some words exchanged with some of our moms and her. And in the end, she just looked at us and she goes, I hope you lose tomorrow. Just so mad and angry and showing up like that. We can go back to other past podcasts, but it's taking ownership and 100% responsibility. It wasn't there. And, we didn't, react to it or respond really to it. We just went on with our day, and her wish was granted. We did lose the next day, so I'm sure she's really happy about that. But again, what is that showing these kids? Her child, their team, it's not showing them 100% ownership for owning up to their mistakes and learning from them. It's going into victim mode. And it's wishing ill on other people. I mean, really think about this. And if it's happened to you, I know it's happened to me. We get triggered. We're in the moment. It's competitive, yada, yada, yada. But now that I have this information and awareness, again, you can't unknow this. Do better. Get up and take a walk. Go to another side of the field. It's so different watching a baseball game from behind the plate, walking down the third base line, walking down the first base line, walking to the outfield. I mean, get some different perspective on these games. And the same call could be called a few different ways depending on your perspective. And that's the same with the ump, depending on his perspective. So, and just perspective on the situation. Like, these are kids, and this is a game, and there are no recruits waiting in the stands to hand your 14-year-old a scholarship. Like, really bring it into perspective and dial it back and dial it down. And holistically, will it matter? In a year, month, 5 months, 5 years, 10 months, 10 years. I mean, just think about that. So, and there's things you can do. Reach out to me if you want to have some of the tools, tips, tricks, resources to really get control of responding versus reacting. Because I think it's so very important, because the kids, they're always watching us. They're watching how we respond or react, what we say. Our energy you can feel. If you've ever walked into that room where you don't know quite what's going on, but you just know it's not very good, you can feel that energy. Well, that's with our kids. They can feel our energy. They can feel if we're in a good mood, if we're in a bad mood, how we deal with different situations that come up in our life all across the board, whether it be with sports, whether it be in relationships, whether it be with discipline, whether it, if it's with money, if it's spiritually, all of it. It's all energy. And being aware of how you choose to show up, because no one can choose that for you, and how you respond to someone, because no one can choose how you feel. You cannot blame another person for how you feel. You have the choice to feel however it is and do with that what you will. So, friendly reminder, I just saw a lot happen this weekend, and we did not win. We did not place. And that's okay. The kids had fun. We have another chance at it next weekend for another tournament. Learn from what we can do differently and move forward. But watching this go around me, and watching the energies and just kind of stepping back and getting a different perspective on how people and parents treat each other, treat other human beings that are there to support their kids. It's really, if you think about it, pretty mind-blowing. And again, I know it happens in all sports across the globe. And how can we do different? What are we teaching our kids? Like, really just step back and think about it. And it doesn't even have to be sports related. It truly can be in any and every area. So what are some action steps or things you can do in the moment when that's happening? First and foremost, recognize your triggers. And when it's happening, take a step back. This is something I've gotten really good about because you're going to get triggered all the time, every day. And it's being aware of when it's happening. So when you feel that trigger coming on or your frustration or that, feeling inside, recognize it and stop and just say, whoa, what is happening? Why am I being triggered right now? And as you start to understand more and you start to understand yourself more, you're going to understand others more and you're going to be able to take your power back, because when you react to situations versus respond, you lose all your power. So this is really about just gaining power of ourselves. So first and foremost, when you're triggered, take a moment and figure out why and really dissect it. And you can ask yourself, does this matter? Yes, it matters right now. Is it going to matter? How can I best respond versus react? That could be walking away. That could be breathing, 4 breaths in, 4 breaths out. Saying, you could, again, walk away and just say it out loud to yourself or to the air instead of to the other person and let that energy expel and go out of you. At night, when you're reflecting back on your day and it's something that you didn't show up in the best light, take note of it. And how can you do better next time? And truly, truly commit to learning from it and doing better if and when the situation arises again. And journal. I know some people like journaling, some people don't, but a lot will come out when you start journaling and you start really letting some emotions and feelings out on paper. And if you are dead set against journaling, take out your recorder on your phone where you can memo record your voice and just start talking. And then listen to it again. And then write, if you're not going to write it down, don't write it down. But take that moment to really understand and look at and hear where you're upset. Your voice goes up and down, your feelings, and step back out of the situation and get perspective. Really think about the here and now. Like when something goes wrong, rationalize it out. Is it going to matter? Is this so detrimental that I need to react in this moment and be so angry, frustrated, say mean things, be hurtful, conduct myself in a way that gets me ejected from my game as a parent? Is it really something that warrants that behavior? And I'm going to tell you, 999 times out of 1,000, if not 999.99999 times out of 1,000, it's not. It's just we get so wrapped up in the moment that our emotions get the better of us. It's emotional intelligence. What is your emotional IQ? We all talk about intelligence and your ACTs, all the scores and how smart you are. Put that all aside. What's your emotional IQ? Have you worked on your emotional IQ? Because this is not stuff we were taught to do. This is not stuff we have tools and resources for the most part around really doing, unless you seek out help, you get therapy, you read a lot of self-help books, whatever it would be. It's not anything that's just out there in mainstream media. It's not out there for you to work on every day. And I encourage you to work on it every day. Work on your emotional IQ. It is very important. And the more aware you become of yourself, of your triggers, of how you show up in good light, and when you're not showing up in the best light, how you can do better. And a lot of people will just shrug it off and they don't want to do the work on themselves. And they rationalize, oh, but it was this, it was that person, it was this situation, it was that bad call. I was justified in my horrible behavior. You're not. I'm going to tell you right now, you're not justified, especially if you're trying to put your behavior off because of something that was done in how you perceive to you or to your team or to your child in a game. It's not. So just choose to first take responsibility and then use some of these tools and use some of the awareness and just really become aware. It's so important that we start showing up differently for each other and for our kids. And it all starts with us. We are what they're looking towards, what they're looking at, who they're modeling, and our behaviors. Our behaviors matter. And how we show up matters. And what we say and what we do and the energy we say and do it in matters. So, emotional IQ, work on it every day and reach out to me if you want help because it's so, so very important. And I promise you, there's beauty on the other side of getting this all, in order and figured out and becoming aware and working on it. There's freedom, actually, straight up freedom when you have this dialed in and really understand. So until next time, make it a great day and awareness. Become aware. Take inventory. It's so, so very important. Thanks for spending some time with me today. And if you like what you heard, feel free to share, like, subscribe, follow, do whatever it is you do. I'd love to get this out to as many people as possible because it truly all does start with awareness. Once you know, you cannot unknow, and it changes everything. And of course, if I can help in any way, I'm here and happy to do so. Until next time, make it a good one.